Thanks, everyone. Thanks the welcome speech from Professor Julie Owens and Mr. Ignati. I'm now coming to quickly go through the agenda for today. So after this welcome addresses, we'll come to a very important part of today, which is our project outcome report. After that, we'll have a lunch break between 12:30 to 1:30 and 1 hour break. And in the afternoon, well, still early morning in UGM, we're going to have the session 2, where we are lucky enough to have 5 keynote speakers. As I mentioned, they are coming from all sorts of background of government, media, academia. And then we'll have a short break in the middle and move on to the final session with the keynote to be delivered by Professor Karen Bennett, as mentioned by Professor Julie Owens, who is our face for Deakin for the pandemic. And she will be presenting a very interesting talk, and we'll have the open discussion as well until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we'll have the conclusion and possibly some of the networking event after that. So let's move on to the project outcome report. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, right? So this is our 12 months kind of project for a Study Melbourne Research Partnership Program. But as mentioned, we try to actually do a lot during the past 12 months. But as mentioned, this is just a kind of end of the beginning for this project. So I hope today, especially this morning, what we presented here will give you a comprehensive understanding of what we have achieved over the last 12 months. So this is online. We'll start with project background, missions, what are the outcomes, and also look forward to the continued partnerships and the future. But before we start, I just want to acknowledge again the support that we received from the Study Melbourne, which through the Victoria government gave us the funding for this research. WESCI is the admin body, which help us to manage the whole progress of the project. I have to say, like, for me and probably Jensen as well, for others in the team, this is the first time we work with the kind of a government agency on this type of project. And we do have learned a lot, and especially the way they help us and to some extent push us to speak to the public, to produce all the media things is really, really important. Okay, I think that's the key issues. Not just about the research about COVID-19 fake news, but also the publicity and how we actually reach out to many people, not just the English-speaking countries, which we know we have a lot of research based on English, but also other kind of less represented kind of languages, including Bahasa and all sorts of other languages. And of course, as I mentioned, right, the early incidents really mentioned how important it is for us to still continue our kind of research, and also how you detect and intervene all this kind of fake news through, I guess, the technology side and also education. I have to give a lot of credits to our Deakin's team, especially our Deakin research and also finance, because they help us to make those kind of a paperwork and a process very smoothly. And there's a lot of things that I have to deal with the first time, including a lot of financial auditing and things like that. But they have helped us a lot and make the process very smoothly. And of course, we have received a lot of support from UGM. Helia has led the team, and we go through all this kind of collaborations with the support from UGM, and they also help us a lot in terms of establishing kind of a connection with both the government and industry, and also I think there's a lot of media kind of attention attracted over there. All right. I also want to take this opportunity just to introduce and also appreciate all the key members of the team. So besides myself, I have Professor Jensen Lee here, who is a co-lead for this project. We have 2 postdoc research fellows at Deakin, including Hui and also Rami. We also have 2 other research assistants with us, which is Xiangyu and Oscar. I believe they're online today. And from UGM side, we also have 6 key members, led by Dr. Helia, and they're Dr. Akamet, Dr. Ring, Dr. Tidis, and also two research assistants who are Nurul and Ryan. All right, so I think I'll just stop here and hand over to Hidir, who is the lead of the project team at UGM.
Okay, thank you, Sio, for the time.
Yeah.
Can you hear me in there?
Yeah, I can hear you very clearly. So I'll play the slides for you. So just tell me when to do it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sio. So good day in Indonesia and in Australia. So before I start, I will talk about the pandemic. Maybe we are not in a pandemic now, but yeah, maybe 2 years later when um, we are started the pandemic, we are not just fighting a pandemic, but we are fighting also for infodemic. Fake news spread faster and more easily than the virus and is just as dangerous. That's quote by the Tedros, the Director General of World Health Organizations. Please go to the next slide. Yeah. So actually the project is motivated by the fake news itself. You know, in the beginning of the COVID-19, we have a fake news like some of the vitamin C, some of the milk run out in the supermarket because of fake news and people panic buying. Is it correct? Especially in Indonesia. Maybe in Australia, you have the quite same situation. And after that, when the vaccination came, some of people against to get the vaccine. But why? Because of some fake news about the vaccination. If you got the vaccination, then you can die or you can got the tested positive after you got the vaccination. But the thing is, when you have a fake news, you what will you do? You can go to the fake news checking. Is it correct? And then, but the thing is, unfortunately, currently, what we have today, the fake news only in one language. For example, mostly it's dominated by the English-based content. So, please for the next slide. Our project have three long-term project mission. The first one, we would like to generate public data set. In here, we would like to collect and analyze the data in Australia and Indonesia. What we would like to do, we would like to collect the individual online behavior characteristic in COVID-19 news propagation and communication. This will be used a survey and also we collect the data set. And the second one is the main one. I think it's develop a multilingual model. In here, we'd like to conduct theoretical analysis about the existing fake news detection model and design a multilingual COVID fake news detection model. And why I mentioned before, it's a long-term project mission. We would like to, this collaboration not only stop here, we have the further collaboration. We have the mission, the long-term mission to apply the model that we already developed to the policymaker, the government who will use this model to risk communication management process in the future. Please go to the next slide. So I would like to start with to answer the first mission. Our first mission is to have a comprehensive online survey, not only particularly for the COVID-19 fake news in Bahasa and also in Australia for Indonesian and also Australian residents, and also collect a COVID-19 misinformation data set in Bahasa. Please. So actually in the first mission, we have two kind of agenda. The first one is the online survey. We collect the data in Indonesian and also Australian. And the second one, please, is data set. So we produce the data set for COVID-19 fake news and real news in Indonesia and develop COVID-19 fake news detection model. So actually, this is the data collection that we already have. We collected 840 participants in Australian and in Indonesian. And for the data set, we collected 2,240 fake news and also more or less 6,284 real news in Indonesia or in a Bahasa language. So I will start with the result of the online survey. So actually, the online survey we collected from October 2021, like maybe mentioned by CEO before, that it's 12 months project. So we started on October 2021, and the data collection is finished on March 2022. And what we have in here, we have 840 participants with that demographics. The first one is about the age. Our participant, most of them are in 18 to 24 years old, where the occupation is the student for about 82.16%, and it's dominated by female. And also the last one is about, please, and education level. Most of them are graduated from high school and also still on a bachelor degree. Not only we gather about the demographic of the participant, we also ask them about what the source of the media that they usually use to access the information about the COVID-19. In here, we can see that the four top most trustable sources related to COVID-19 fake news is the first one is the website. So most of people, both in Australia and Indonesia, they go to the website and also Instagram and television and also Twitter. So there are most or four top trustable information based on our participant. And about their perception about how effective the vaccination, they believe, most of them believe that the vaccination have the effectiveness, especially to lower their risk in COVID-19. Next, please. And about the regulation, the government regulation, how their 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 response or their perception about the government regulation. Some of them say that do agree about the government regulation, something like keep distance or work from home, stay at home, and so on and so forth. Because of what? Because of our data is collected after the Delta variant, means that a lot of people die because of the Delta variant. It's in the middle of the 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So people tend to to agree with the government regulation. Next, please. And about how often they access the information, and we can see in here most of them check the information related to COVID-19 1 to 2 days a week and 1 to 2 times in a month. Next, please. We not only find the descriptive of the participant, but we also find the trust level of the participant. We adopted the cultural theory from Douglas in 1978, even though this is the old theory, but it's still applicable currently. So actually from the cultural theory, people can be divided into four categories. The first one is a hierarchy. Hierarchy means that people trust to the higher level of their position, means that in here, in this context of COVID-19, they trust to the government. The second one is people people can be classified into egalitarian, means that people trust to the same level of them, means that they trust to their friend, their family, or their colleagues, and so on and so forth. And the third one is the individualism, means that people trust to their self, they have a high self-efficacy, means that they don't need to trust to the others if they say that it can, I mean, the COVID-19 can harmful themselves, so they cannot go to the activity. And the last one is the fatalist, means that the people trust to their destiny or their fate. So how to measure it? We use the situational judgment test. Sorry, in the previous slide. Okay, so how to measure it? We use the situational judgment test. It's adopted for Renner and Eng in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. So um, they use a situational judgment test. So there are a lot of scenario. We have 10 scenario in here. For example, you can see in the slide that in the scenario, you see that you have to go abroad for an assignment. You are considering a decision regarding your departure. So people in here, participants should rank 1 to 4 based on their preference. What exactly that they will do in that scenario. First one is if my office mate goes, then I will too, means that they are egalitarian. The second one is I will make the decision that will cost me the last. My safety come first. So it means that the individualist, and the third one is my decision will be based on the current rules and regulation, means that hierarchy. And the last one is fatalist. Go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so I told you before, mentioned before that trust level can be divided into 4 categories. And how about the result? In here, we can see that the Australian and Indonesian have a quite similar pattern. Most of people in Australia and Indonesian, particularly in the COVID-19 situation, they trust to the government, or most of them dominated by the hierarchy category, means that they trust to the government. Like I told you before, maybe because of the our survey after the variant, Delta variants, a lot of people died because of that. So the government is one of the trustable, the most trustable source of the information. And it's followed by the individualist, fatalist, and egalitarian. The pattern of in Indonesia and also Australian is quite similar. Not only that, we also in the survey we also try to see the participant ability to detect fake news. But for that, I will pass it to Dr. Titis.
Okay, thank you. So I'm continuing the presentation from Julia. So in terms of the fake news detection or detectability, we employ the signal detection theory and conduct experimental survey following the survey that Julia have explained before. So basically, the signal detection theory is a method for differentiating or discriminating a person's ability to, to discriminate the presence of a stimulus, whether it is a signal or it is a noise. So in terms of the fake news detection, the signal is the fake news and the noise is the real news. So following this method, the respondent from Indonesia and Australia were presented a screenshot of news in the social media. For example, here as you can see, screenshot news from Twitter as the stimulus. The stimulus can be a fake news or a real news. And then the respondents were asked to respond the presented stimuli by stating whether first, please next to the, yeah, first whether the news is a fake news or a real news. So second, their confidence level, whether they sure that the answer or the news is a real news or fake news. And finally, they were asked to state whether they will have a preference to share or like the news, something like that. And in total, there were a total of 29 news, consisting 30% of fake news as the target or the signal, and 70% real news as the noise. And then the respondents' responses were then classified according to the signal detection theory or SDT, and the response were then collected and classified into 3 groups. First is conservative. A tendency of the respondents said that the news was a real news, even though it was a fake news. And then the second group is the liberal bias tendency, that the respondents will say the news was a fake news, even though the presented news is a real news. So based on these 2 criteria, we can see the conservative bias have a tendency to commit more miserror. And for the liberal bias, indicating the respondent commit more false alarm response. And based on the result and classified the respondent according to the previous classification of trust level and the response bias criterions, we found this finding. Please go back to the previous table. Yeah, and we can see here that the majority of our respondents had a tendency to be conservative more than the liberal. And well, it's not surprising because the stimulus itself consists more real news. It's about 70% of the stimulus were real news. And interestingly, if we take a look at the participants in the liberal bias category, there are 15 and 40% of the respondents from the fatalist and individualist group. They had a tendency to say the news was real news. A real news, even though actually it was fake news. And this number are it's higher, greater than the respondents from the fatalist and individualist in this group of hierarchy and egalitarian. And it just is more more respondents tends to be commit a false alarm error. We are currently composing this finding into a scientific article for this finding, and we'll submit this finding to the journal. However, we have present the result of the online survey to the Conversation Indonesia, as you can see here, and also in several media, for example, in Tempo, Koran Tempo, and as well as some social media in Instagram, based on the Conversation Indonesia on Instagram and so on. That's the result for the signal detection theory approach, the fake news detections. And next is the dataset data. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Titis. Yeah, aside from the research presented by Bu Hilya and Pak Titis, we also, UGM side also developed a model for hoax detection in Bahasa from multiple sources. In quotes from WHO, we are not just fighting for epidemic, we are fighting for epidemic, meaning that during pandemic, passing reliable information to everyone else is vital for public health. And in reality, check your phone, check your family group WhatsApp, you can say that misinformation are spreading more easily and even faster than the fact itself. Yuliani 2017 found that mainstream media was not exempt from spreading misinformation, and about 100,000 sites spreading false information in Indonesia. On the other hand, next, please. On the other hand, 89% of Indonesian people search for information through online media and social media. So both news and social media plays an important role in spreading information, and both have different linguistic styles in terms of the word choices, the structure, and so forth. Next, please. So hoaxes are not limited to the context of COVID-19, but also other topics. You can say hoaxes in crimes, in politics, in business, and so forth. But specifically for COVID-19, the government of Indonesia reported about more than 1,700 hoaxes, meaning that some countermeasures needs to be done to stop hoaxes spreading. And one of them is developing hoax detection model. So Pak Rifai will explain in more detail.
Okay, thank you, Bu Yun. We'll continue the explanation regarding our detection model. To address this problem, we developed news detection models to differentiate between real and false news in bahasa Indonesia. In developing the model, we use two approaches. The first is long short-term memory, or LSTM, and the second is vastly optimized word training approach, or Roberta. Please. Yeah, in building the models, we use the news regarding COVID-19, but from traditional media, such as from government website and news portal website. Also, we also took news from social media, such as from Facebook and Twitter. And the news are from January 20 to April 2020. In total, there are around 2,240 false news or hoax news and 3,284 real news as the data set. Okay, so this is some examples of the news that we use for data sets. The first are from social media, from Twitter, and it is a real news. And then the second is from traditional media, from news portal website, and categorized as fake news. The third one is from official government website from COVID-19 Go ID. It is the Indonesian government website for COVID-19, and of course it's real news. And then the last one is from Facebook, and it is categorized as fake. Okay, and for the detection model, before we perform the training, we also perform data pre-processing. So originally during the data collection, the data contains some information such as publication date, news title, full text news, of course, and news link. And here for the model, for the detection model, we only use two of them. We only use news title and full text news. After that, we perform some data pre-processing, such as replacing punctuation and low case and split by words, timing, stop words, and etc. And also we perform one-hot word representation and sequence creation for the data pre-processing. Okay, for the prediction model, we develop for LSTM models. It can be classified into two types. The first type is sequential. In sequential models, we only use full text content of the news as the input. And the second type is functional models in which here we use both full text content and also news title for the input of functional models. In this study, we built two sequential models, and also we built two functional models with different number of layers and also complexities. And in total, there are 4 LSTM models that we built for the detection models. Please. Yeah, in addition, we also developed prediction model using Roberta, and this is the illustration of Roberta architectures that we use for this study. Next slide, please. Okay, for the training process, before the training, we divide the data sets into two sets. The first is for training, which we allocate 80% of the data for training, and then 20% for tests. So in total, there are 4 detection models using LSTM and 1 detection model using Roberta, in which the confusion matrix of each model for the test datasets are shown here. So in overall, the Roberta models perform the best with the highest accuracy at 97.50%, so only 2.5% error. And also the Roberta models achieve highest precision and recall, as well as the lowest training time for around 4,000 news data. However, these Roberta models takes the longest test time at 5.66 seconds. And as conclusion for our detection model, among the 4 LSTM models, the best accuracy for LSTM models is at 92.17%, which is obtained by the sequential models. Surprisingly, sequential models obtains better results than functional models, even though it is much simpler. And then in overall, for the best algorithm of LSTM, the accuracy is 92% with around 7% of error. So actually it indicates that functional models found difficulties in classifying fake or real news based on news titles. And then for the computation time of LSTM, it's around 23 to 27 minutes for the training, around 3,800 something data sets. And for the test is around 3.8 to 4.1 milliseconds per article for detection. And then for the overall, the best models is Roberta, which is 97.82% for the test accuracy. Next, please. And the computation times is much faster for Roberta, around 11 to 12 minutes for the training. However, again, it takes quite longer time for the test using Roberta models. Yeah, maybe that is the report for our detection model. And for the next, I will pass to Jim.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, our UGM team. And it's a very clear introduction about our survey and the questionnaire. And like Xiao mentioned, so today the world has become very, very complex. And especially in the 3 years, the COVID-19 has changed a lot of people's mind. So, so we should always keep our open opinion. And you know, the internet or the social media or some online news. So sometimes the agent or the different people, they may have some different opinion. So in this case, and it's really important for this project. And we don't want to change some people's mind. We just conduct some research, data analytics, and open the matters and show them to all people, and then let our people to make their own decision and some kind of thought. So to do this, and we collect the largest multilingual COVID-19 misinformation data set. And before that, there are some other public data set. Maybe the data set size is very small, or maybe they just contain some text data. So in our project, I think the second project outcome is to produce a very rich data set. It not only contains some text data, that also contains some structured data. So from this figure, you can say, and so our data set makes multiple languages. Okay. Yeah. And to collect the data set, and we make a formal data collection process. And so okay, after that, we at the end of this project, we will release the tools. So the end users, you can download our code and make your own data collection. By following the process, and then you can just provide some URL address or some particular crawler information, and then our tool can help you to download the data. And in our tools, we also link so many fact-checking websites. Yeah, because for some maybe some agents or companies, they also do some fact checking, but most of them depends on the labor. And so they have to, if after they collect the data, and then they hire so many people or assign the task to some online freelancers, and then they can okay, you can check, and then you can earn some bonus. So for our data set, we smartly use the worldwide data resource, and then some people, if they have checked some news, so in this case we can borrow and download this information, link to them, and then help the other companies to make the final check. So after that, and we also link to some Twitter data, the social media data, because once a news occurred in the internet, maybe there are so many social media users, they would like to discuss, and then maybe they just change a little information in the news, so the total meaning will be changed. So in this case, and if you believe the original news is true, so after they add a few words, so do you still believe that is true or fake? Yeah. So this is a question. So in this case, and we help our society to link some news and the social media platform, and then they can make the comprehensive fake news detection or some recognition. Yeah. Okay, this is a big overview about our data set. And from this figure, you can say, and our data sets contain more than 50 languages. So that means you can use English or Malaysia or the India or some other different language to do. Yeah, because on this one, yeah, because the researchers or the technician, they can make some fact check. For example, maybe one news was published in English. Maybe this news will be translated into the other languages. So in this case, the translator can put their own opinion or mind into the news, so the meaning will be changed accordingly. So in this case, and our data set provided a very big space for researchers and for the data scientists. And this data set had contained more than 200 fact-checking websites. And so maybe the same news will be categorized differently by different fact-checking websites. So, or maybe some people intended to make their own fact-checking websites. So they may give you some data, we call the data injection, like poison. So they would like to mislead your fact-checking results. So in this case, and when we make the fake news detection, where the fact-checking results or label come from. So that is also a question. And another information in our data set is that we collect more than 40,000 like news. And then we also collected more than 60,000 Twitter data. So you can do too much. You can show your techniques, and you can make some new topic or new system or new tools to help our society. Yeah. So this is some static information about our data set. And there are two generated data set. The first one is the news. Another one is the Twitter data. In the news, you can say it's not only include some tweet or the text. Okay, that also contains some images, like in this morning. And okay, so if someone would like to attack our online meeting, so in this case, if you can identify some text and you can also recognize some face or something like that. So based on this one, and this data provided very strong capability and to innovate or investigate some new technologies and solve our society issues. Yeah. Okay, and this is some features included in our data set, like and each news or each tweet that contain some one label or annotation, fake or real. So, and of course, for some news that is very neutral or is not checked, so we keep this unlabeled data there. So that means maybe based on the limited label data, you can make your own new solution or method and to automatically label the other data. So then, yeah, and then you can verify the accuracy of your method. Another one like the URL address or the data. So sometimes, and the data set is also sensitive to the published data. For example, and if one big event happened or occurred, so in this case, and the time information is also sensitive. So for example, like before the COVID, there are not many people to discuss the vaccine. But in these 3 years, there are so many online posts or message or news. They have their own opinion. They would like to engage some different group of users. So in this case, the time information is quite important. Another one, the publisher. Of course, this one is easy to understand, and who publishes the news. Okay, maybe most of us we believe some like the government, they would like to release some policies about to the public. I think this is good. Yeah, we always trust and believe, but sometimes and maybe some translators or the news like personal publishers, they would like to misunderstand the news, and then they can post their understanding to their social account. Okay, another one is some raw labels like false or true, and the languages and some other additional attributes or features included in this data set, like the Twitter link, the keywords, image, and the news. So if we have this data, and from this data, we can also generate some user to user and news to news, their propagation link or interlinks. So in this case, it's not only the data item by itself, and we can also generate some structure information. So this structure can also help us to make some accurate method and models. Okay, and that is our second project outcome. And so if you have interest, you can download from our website and make your own models. I know today we have some students, and maybe and you can, if you have interest about the machine learning, deep learning, or data data analytics, so you can practice your skill by using our data set. So next, I would like to, on behalf of our project team, I would like to introduce our theoretical contributions, like our research contributions. Yeah. Okay, and okay, there are several research contributions from our team. The first one, and like in 2020, before this project, we have conducted a much preliminary study. And okay, at that time, I think Hui is still a PhD student, or Safeway maybe is MPT. So especially, so that we call the pandemic. So why the pandemic happened? Yeah, that depends on their communication issue between the service providers and the public. So maybe everyone, okay, I will be locked down here, and I have to buy like 1 month or 2 months food. So do you really need that? So that depends on the communication. So in this case, so at the time in 2020, and our students and analyze the social media data, and we would like to use the topic modeling to analyze the people's opinion about the COVID-19 pandemic. So by analyzing their text data we will get like the people have the positive or negative opinion about the COVID-19. So from the results, you can say at that time this data was collected between April, the first of April to 14th of April 2020. That is a 2 weeks time. So by analyzing this time, you can say there are top 3 hot topics. And based on our topic modeling, you can find, and the first, the first one is stay home. So from this word cloud, you can say at that time, maybe that's relating to some lockdown. So in this case, and you from this topic, if you open that, like this topic 11, and from this the figure 9, you can say people's diversified opinion about the homestay. The stay home. So in this case, you can say, and the green color label represent a positive opinion. So you can say most of people still keep positive about the policy. So in this case, okay, we can say at least from the social media platform, our people are positive about the government policy. So that means this is good. Okay, another one you can say the next topic 49, that is maybe the COVID-19 lead to some people's deaths or new case deaths. So from the figure 11, you can say, and the blue color and is the negative. So I think people's and has a bigger concern about this topic. So that means you can understand, you can easily understand. And when people discuss the case death or lose online, most of them have big concern or negative. So in this case, so normally the government or some organization should do something. So this is why every time after a big disaster, the government should put some psychology people, and then like in our Deakin, so a few months, so the university will send one email. So if you want to meet with psychology, okay, you can let them know. So maybe most of people is okay, but we understand maybe some people they have high pressure, maybe they have the negative opinion for a long time, that may lead to some suicide or some other thing. So as a good society, we should help them to solve their mental issue or the other issues. Yeah, for another topic like topic 64, that is okay. A mixed one. You can say people maybe they are talking some disease caused by the COVID-19, or some die. They also mentioned some die or some other people, the other things. And from this one, you can after you compare the figure 10 to figure 9 and 11, you can find this figure 10. The distribution looks more even. So this one you can say, okay, if you participate the discussion about topic 64, you looks okay or normal at that time. Okay. So this is that for this work, and we have published that in one international conference, ADMA. So if you have interest, you can download our paper, and we also share the data set. You can download and check. Yeah. Okay. So after that, and after that, and we so after the first a few months, when the COVID-19 happened, so a lot of countries they put their investment, put their effort to make the vaccine. So after the vaccine was put into market, so what about your opinion? So at the beginning, I still remember and some countries, they would like to rush their the vaccine too quickly, and they maybe this is acceptable. Yeah, sometimes they would like to protect the people's life, and yeah, that's yeah. From another side, they also would like to dominate the marketing. So this is fully understand. So, but what about our people to understand the vaccine? That is also a good question. So in this case, and our product team, and we focus on the 4 countries, like USA, India, and England, and Canada. Because and from the Twitter data, and because we think these 4 countries, and they have a lot. We collected a large number of data and that are available for us to analyze. So in this case, you can say, and we generated the word cloud for each country's discussion, and we also use bars to show their opinions. So in this work, and we focus on the COVID-19 vaccine discussion. So that means, and giving multiple choices for the COVID-19 vaccine. So what about their local people to accept or to have positive or negative opinion? So if most of people, they have positive opinion, that means the government, if they call for the vaccine injection, maybe most people would like to do that. Okay, so that means they understand their policy. That means they think they agree with the policy. Otherwise, if they if most of people, they have the negative opinion about one type of vaccine, so the government needs to put much effort or advertisement. Like maybe you still remember at the time the YouTube. If you open the YouTube, our Victoria government put okay, we encourage we encourage everyone to take the vaccine, the first dose or second dose. Maybe for the different age of people, you may take the maybe third dose. So for different peoples and the different age of peoples, and that may have different opinion about the vaccines. So in this case, and from our research results, you can find like in the figure A, you can find that in India, like they prefer the local people, they prefer the co-vaccine, the type of vaccine. But in USA or in England, they like the another one, like in USA and Canada, like Moderna will be the first choices. So we don't know. Okay, maybe the government, they provide all the options to their people, but from the social media or the news, okay, their discussion, we can find that, and most of people, they have their own preferred vaccine type. So that means, okay, we don't need to do to make the decision for people, but we just demonstrate the results and then share to our public and share the results to the government, and you can have a look your people's observations, and then you can analyze why they like one type of vaccine over another type of vaccine. And maybe some news or some people, they would like to share, but maybe some other people, they may not like to share. So that is another factor. And so for this work, and had been published in one good journal, World Wide Web. And so if you have interest about the research and the method or the code, you can read our paper and then find some details. So in our third research output in this project, and we focus on the fake news detection. So okay, before this work, there are some other fake news detection. Maybe the fake news, they may focus focus on some general news. For example, maybe one product or one disaster, or like earthquake. One earthquake happened, maybe there's so large number of tweets published online. So which fact mentioned in the news is correct or not correct? So that is also a question. So for us in this project, we focus on the COVID-19. Okay, COVID-19 is not only the fake or real news. Sometimes that is contain so many misinformation. So you cannot say that is false. That is not fully correct. For example, like beginning, like there's so many news online, like eating garlic can help you to protect from COVID-19. So it's true or false? Maybe eat garlic is a health to your body, but it may not help you or protect you from COVID-19. So there are some others, like take more shining or some other more activity and eat some more medicine that can also help you to from the COVID-19. So there are so many information, but if you consider the different countries, and if you consider their religions, or if you consider their own personal experience, so at under the ground, there are so many factors or reasons that easily lead the people to adopt or accept the misinformation or fake news. So this is why in this project, we propose one BERT-based semantic enhanced model that is used for the COVID-19 fake news detection. Okay, there are several contribution points. The first one is different from the previous detection model. We not only look after the text, but also some semantic information. And then, we also consider the text structure, like the topic to topic, the structure. And after that, we make one advanced model to optimize the presentation. So finally, we also conduct experiments to validate the method. Okay. Okay, this is the framework for for this work, and yeah, from the above part you can say, and we modify the BERT model to process the text data. After that, and we also use the LDA topic model to generate the topics from the news or the Twitter text content, and then generate the different set of topics. So by analyzing, yeah, because this generated topic may be very detailed, and that contain much noisy information. So you need to control the word size in each topic. So maybe it's a very tiny information or mini topic. So by to deal with this issue, we make one clustering method to group by these topics and generate some hyper topic. So in this case, we can remove or we can reduce the noisy information in the originally generated topic. So after that, we can merge the sentence or the word embedding and with the clustering topic embedding into one deep learning model or the neural network. So based on our training data, and we can train a good model. So from the results, you can say, and the decision tree or LSTM, okay, their accuracy can achieve like 87%, and our proposed model can achieve more than 93%. So of course, and this is the good results, yeah, normally. But of course, there are some there are some future study if you like to follow this line of research, yeah, because and behind this model or this data set, and you may have the different ways to clustering, and or you can change a different topic modeling, and for some text data, and you can use different text pre-processing methodology to do that. And so that means this is a general framework, and yeah, because this project is just help our people or how our society, and to have a formal system or formal tools. So we didn't go to much details. So after that, and we also conducted another research we call the hierarchical JNN based fake news detection. So in this work, and in the bio work, we focus on the text data only, of course, and from the text data we make some other solid research, and different from the research output 3 in this work, and we focus on the hierarchical structure of the data. And after that, and we propose two attention mechanisms, and that can be used to integrate the local view information of data and the global view feature of the data. After that, and we verify the results. Okay, from this figure, you can say, and normally when a news is released or published, okay, the news will be reposted or republished by the other agents or the social media accounts. So when the news were propagated over the platform, over the internet, and there are some comments under the news. Maybe some people they like or they dislike. They can put some additional text information or their opinion. So after that, so from this scenario, you can understand. And when news publish like within the first half hour, maybe some people they are eager to share their opinion or comments. After that, with the increasing of the publishing time, you can say the news will be propagated or diffused over the platform or over the internet. So when they are diffused, so that means the news maybe may have more text or feature information. So this is the data environment or data scenario. So after that, from the diffusion or propagation pattern, and we can generate some hierarchical structure for the data. What is the structure? That is structure is, okay, if some user or agent or account or a website, they repost or reshare some news, so you can record that. That is the information cascade pattern on the internet. So in this case, and we can record when do you repost or retweet, and then what the action or what the addition or what about your opinion about the news when you retweet that. So all this information or users' traces can be recorded or monitored. So in this case, we can make this hierarchical structure. So this hierarchical structure provides us one global view. So that means this is the red color is original news, and then the green color may have additional put for the news, and then maybe the black color news can have more or rich information. So based on this one, you can find maybe on the black color there is a group of users, they have the similar opinion. Or for the green color, they may have multiple small group of users discussing the news. So based on this one, and we can build the hierarchical structure. This hierarchical structure provided one meta path. That is in the research methodology. The meta path is okay, and this is one topic. Okay, give me one topic, and then from topic 1 to topic 2 to topic 3, or group 1, group 2, or group 3, they have the link, the linkage. On the link, you can calculate the difference between the topic, and then you can find why this news or this group are formed due to their correlation. So we can generate this kind of hierarchical information. So this is a big framework for this work for this research method. So okay, giving one news or set of news data set, and then we, based on the time information, we can calculate the different time sessions, and then group the news or the social media data by the time information. So in this case, and you can allocate or assign the different weight based on the timing delay. So in this case, and of course, when the time is shorter, you can consider their correlation is high. And from the hierarchical structure, and you can build a heterogeneous information network. And the node may represent a user or a group of users, or some node may represent one news or a group of topics. So in this case, and this on the hierarchical structure, and that provide very rich information about the news or social media, social tweet propagation or diffusion pattern. And from the local view, you can find, okay, giving one news, and we can find what about the other news or the social media, as they make response within the different time dimension. So this will provide some local view. So after we combine the global view and the local view, and that can optimize the representation of our models. So this is work is under submission. Okay, finally we have another output about the multilingual fake news detection. And because we mentioned, and in our data set, we have more than 50 languages. So if we have a good model that can recognize the fake news in English, can we directly apply that to some other country's language? So maybe it's question. Okay, maybe you can say, okay, we can translate all the news or text information into one language. For example, we can translate all news into English, and then we can reply the models directly. So that's true. But when we consider the translation, okay, that means the different language may have the different expression and maybe different highlight in the description. So that will make the model very sensitive or not very stable. So considering this reason or this research gap, and our project team also developed this multilingual fake news detection. Okay, based on this one, and we use the XLM and the BERT model and the NTM. We use the several base models together to deal with the different word types, and for the different words, and then we can use a different representation method to model that. So after that, and then we can map them into one unified and complex representation space. So based on this one, you can find, and we can if we use English text data to train a model, and then if one real news is coming in English, and we can recognize the fake or real news. So, and if the trained data was prepared in English, and then if we apply the model into the Haiti language, what about the accuracy? So based on this kind of setting, and from the results, you can say our model is outperforming the other existing models greatly. So, and our model is very stable. For example, our model can achieve the high performance about like maybe 85%, maybe most of the time, and that can reach like 87%. So in this case, and that means, okay, and we have to consider the English, okay, for example, and for the English or Hindi, we have to consider the expression characters between the two language, and then we will learn the factors or the attributes or the features, and then set appropriate values for the a large number of parameters in the model. So that is the key idea in this work. Okay, of course, we also have the other research output from our UGM side. And so this is a list of research output from our project. If you have interest, you can have a look from our project website. Okay, and we also have another research outcome and from this project, that is the tools. That means, okay, like Xiao and our Deputy Vice Chancellor also introduced at the beginning, and this project is not only publish papers, we also consider how this project help our society and to reduce their concern about the COVID-19, or if they have some concern, how this project can help them to elevate their concern. So in this case, we make one website. On our website, we also publish one tools. Okay, if you find one news, and if you find one news, you can check if this is true or false, this is fake or real. So that means, okay, from our website, you can click the fact checking and then paste your news. Okay, our website will share you about the results, of course, and we just tell you, okay, what is the percentage or the chance this news is not reliable or not real. So, and then maybe based on our fact check results, you can make your own decision or check the other official news websites. Yeah, another one, and okay, our website can also help you to make some labels or annotations, and this website it also provided some multilingual. For example, maybe you can use some the Hindi language, type you the Hindi word, and then our website, this tool is also working. That can also help you to check the true or false. So maybe here we can play a video and to have a look how our website help you to make fact checking,
verdict annotation, multilingual support. Please feel free to click on the blue button and give it a go. For example, say we put eating garlic can kill virus. And it will return with a red cross, which indicates misinformation or fake news. It also provides a number of news pages across languages about eating garlic. Next, for our survey, the questionnaire results and analysis are all on the questionnaire page. You can click on Stop Survey to read the questionnaire. Scroll down, you will be able to see the respondent demographics. Also on the following slides, their perceptions about COVID-19, their trust levels during the pandemic, as well as their responses on fake news detection. Our dataset is developed from 98 fact-checking websites across 116 countries in more than 120 languages. The dataset includes the title, date, source, language, label, and also other attributes. Download links are available on this page. Additionally, you can find more details on our GitHub. It has 3 functions.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Shenxing, and thanks members from UGM team to present a wonderful conclusion for this project's outcome. As mentioned, right, this is a 12-month project. I hope that you can see that we have achieved a lot during these 12 months. But as mentioned, this is just the end of beginning. We'll definitely look forward to continue the research partnership with UGM and also the research work on this. So what do we have done to like ensure that we're gonna have a success for this 12 months? So we have done a lot of things into the project management. We have the bi-weekly meetings, weekly group meetings, and we're using a lot of Teams and Zooms meetings. And in order to promote this project, we have created the project website. I strongly recommend everyone to visit our project website. There's a lot of information over there. And of course, we welcome your feedback on how actually we can improve or what kind of information you want us to put on the website. And we have our Twitter account, YouTube channel, and we also have a GitHub where we have hosted all the project code there. And of course, we did have organized the workshop. This is the second one. We already have the first one in April, and we also try to present our research and project in other occasions. Right. So quickly try to summarize what we have also do, because this is the Study Melbourne Research Partnership Project, right? So one of the very key achievement is how we actually establish and strengthen our partnership with UGM. So in terms of research, I think we have already mentioned a lot. There'll be already research agreement signed, and we also have done a lot of joint supervision and joint co-authored published papers. In terms of education, I think one of the very important in terms of education partnership is we try to encourage and invite UGM undergraduate students to attend some of our virtual and also physical study tour at Deakin, because we would like to invite them to consider Deakin as their destination for future studies. And a very important thing that I want to mention is through this partnership, we actually establish a wider connection with the society and especially the government sectors in Indonesia. So, in our first workshop, we already have the general staff, and also today we'll have a keynote speakers as well from the Ministry of Communications and Informatics, Indonesia. And we also have this continued discussion with West Java government. Right, so what's next? Okay, so this is conclusion just for the 12 months project, right? But we look forward to a lot of things that we can do in the future. So in terms of research, we really, look forward to continue this research direction, probably not just focus on COVID-19, right? So we know this will be able to see the end of it. And we try to have this general kind of misinformation detection intervention. So, some of our newly recruited students will continue to updating our project website to share more information and also try to publish all this information through all the social media, so everyone can actually easily access all the services, including the both the data sets and also the fact-checking tool. We also hope for that we can extend and strengthen the research on misinformation, and especially one of them is through education. I think everyone would agree, so the education in terms of people's ability in terms of detecting misinformation is still very, very important. Okay, and that's probably talking to all sorts of different ages, groups. We was also like to work with more international collaborators and cross-discipline experts to apply for the research fund. So one of the things, like especially in the afternoon, you will see like some of our research collaborators, which is beyond the Deakin and UGM, who are actually very interested in our research, and we already have some preliminary collaborations, and we're looking forward to continue with also, researchers from different areas to continue on this part. In terms of partnership, as we already mentioned, so there will be, partnerships, ongoing partnership in terms of education. We try to support our students in terms of mobility programs, a study tour, in the possibly industry and research internship for the students. And from next year, I think from the UGM side, there will be some research grant to set aside to support researchers from Deakin and UGM to conduct like 1-year joint research project, which I think that's a great contribution to our partnership. And also probably from 2024, we also would like to open this kind of international undergraduate program for UGM students to probably study their final year at Deakin. And the last for the law list, I think for this project, most important thing is how we actually provide the research outcome, especially the services and tools that we have created to be used by decision makers, government sectors, and industry. I can think like across both Indonesia and Australia, so that we can actually transfer our project outcome into somehow the public services, which will be easily accessible to everyone. Okay, I think that's pretty much the end of this morning session. I know we have lunch waiting outside, so I'm not trying to stop you from getting the lunch, but just leave maybe 1 or 2 minutes in case you have any questions about what we have presented so far.
Currently, how many percent of accuracy?
Well, I think as Jianxin already mentioned, right, there are quite a few different projects or papers that we've been working on. So it depends on the models that we're using, the accuracy varies, right? But the key issues I think we are trying to solve is because most of the existing model, they are trained and the test based on English, source of models, and we are trying to apply to multi-language. And we try to make sure that even now it's applied to multilingual, the accuracy is still pretty much the same or even higher. Yeah.
So that we are building the model we already have.
You mean the multilingual model?
And the model to predict the.
Yes, we already have a few. Yeah.
But you can also modify or optimize the model.
Yeah.
We have shared the code.
And currently, we only focus on the COVID-19 and not another one.
Exactly. Yes. So I mean the framework that's actually generic, right? We can actually apply to other type of events or source of information. But for this project, we particular interest in COVID-19. I think because that's how we decided to apply for this project at the beginning when we are talking to our UGM colleagues, because that time 12 months ago we're still really in the middle of the pandemic, and there's a lot of I guess the misinformation flying around, and it actually resulting in a lot of issues for the society. So we think like that's something that we can start with. But as I mentioned, right, in the future, we'll definitely extend this research direction to more generic kind of misinformation. Yeah.
I think maybe we can take a group photo.
Of course, yeah.
The UDM.
Yeah, we would like to do that. Yeah. All right, so we probably can leave. We will have keynote speakers and also open discussion in the afternoon. So I think the last thing we want to do before the lunch and probably morning tea at UGM side, like, can we get together just in front of the screen so we have a group photo together? All right. Yeah. Okay.